All right, it is 12:05. LaKeisha, if you'd like, I can go over the housekeeping reminders first.
Yes.
And then we'll get started. Just a few reminders for those of us who have joined. We suggest that you keep your meeting view in speaker view so you can see LaKeisha as she's explaining the activity today. Just a reminder that I will keep everyone on mute as we go unless you have a question and the host calls on you to speak. You can use the raise your hand reaction. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little reactions tab, and you can choose the raise hand feature, which I'll demonstrate right here. My hand is raised. And then once the host calls on you, you can unmute yourself, ask a question, make a comment, and then I'll mute you again. And just as a reminder, this session will be recorded and made available for viewing later. So just keep that in mind as we go, and have a great time.
Thank you so much, Amber. Really appreciate that. So first I want to introduce myself. My name is LaKeisha Randall. I am the owner of the Randall firm here in Atlanta. We work on personal injury, family law, and estate planning, but I'm also a life coach. And I've been involved with the State Bar Wellness Committee since its inception as a task force. And attorney wellness is my passion area. I've taught nationally on things as light as self-care and kind of fun things like this. And then also, things as heavy as the state of our legal community and unfortunately the state of depression and recovery and those kind of topics. But today we're going to do a hybrid. So because of the COVID environment, our wellness committee has decided that we're going to have our monthly touch events. So many people are working in isolation right now and we're not socializing as much as we normally would. And particularly those who are working from home, you may not have as many social contacts. So we do want to also encourage you guys to, ask questions, even of each other. Perhaps if you're comfortable enough to show what you have so far on your boards. I actually brought a couple of my past boards to give an examples on things to consider. But one of the primary things I do want to remind everyone is that, it's important to have a life outside of the law. A lot of times, we're so laser focused on our careers that we forget to really build a life that's more holistic. And, in times like this, when we're only focusing on our work and things are so uncertain, it kind of makes it more difficult to really adjust and adapt. So first, I want to talk about what is a vision board. To my surprise, when planning this event, some people had never done a vision board.
Hello?
Can you hear us? Uh-oh. Let's see. Okay. So to my surprise, some people had never done a vision board. However, a vision board is rooted in the power of manifestation, rooted in seeing is believing, the power of visualization and those kind of things. So simply put, we're going to start off with a blank board. You could use whatever kind you like. In the past, I've done them on poster boards. My preferred style is the kind that are kind of sturdy, like the foam boards, because you're able to really plant these up somewhere so that you can actually see them every day as you begin working on starting your day, So ultimately the goal is to create a visual representation of your goals. I know, we're entering the next month of the first quarter. So some of us have likely tossed our resolutions aside, or, we haven't thought about the resolutions we made for the new year, but it's important to at least kind of bring those top of mind. And we're going to start with that. But I want to encourage you guys to make sure for your vision boards, we're considering the 5 aspects of wellness and well-being. So those areas would be physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and intellectually. So to give an example of each, your physical, what were your physical goals? Is your goal to run a 5K, do a 10K? It can be something as simple as, personally, I practice yoga. And during COVID, I was very inconsistent with my yoga practice because I prefer to go to a studio. Well, top of the year, I made a resolution to actually join an online community of yogis to hold myself accountable. So for your vision boards, whatever your actual physical goals are, identify those, or just kind of think through what should they be. What are your goals by the end of the year that you want to complete, and make sure that your vision board has a visual depiction of that thing to kind of keep it top of mind. Next area we have is social. Due to COVID, we're not really getting out as much as we normally would, but perhaps your goal can be something as simple as calling one friend a week, or actually visually calling versus texting or sending an email. So identify areas that socially you want to develop. That can be, joining Junior League, and you may put a snippet of Junior League on your board. Whatever your social goals are, if you don't have any, just kind of think through what those could be for you. Because ultimately the goal is to create a holistic lifestyle and not only identify professional goals. Next, we have spiritual. That could be anything, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, if you have any. And if not, if you want to kind of explore some of those, make sure you have some kind of visual representation of that on your board as well. Intellectual, that can overlap. That can be things you want to accomplish professionally. That can also be things that you want to, try that's new. So if there's a skill that you wanted to develop, or if you wanted to heighten your awareness on personal finance, you may put that on your board and just really make sure that you're creating a lifestyle that's holistic. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the state of the community, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it briefly. Unfortunately, the legal community, our wellness numbers are pretty scary, right? Studies have shown that lawyers have increased levels of depression. We have a higher risk of being vulnerable to different vices, addiction, and unfortunately, recent reports showed that we're 7 times more likely to commit suicide. And because of that, our wellness community, and particularly our wellness committee from the state bar, is very focused on creating a holistic lifestyle of normalcy, right? Removing the stigma of, not being well and being open enough to talk about these kind of things. So this activity was one that we kind of thought would, be a little light, but also a way to really hone in the importance of being well and having a layered lifestyle. What I mean by that is sometimes we put all our eggs in one basket. If that basket falls, or that basket kind of gets off kilter, then we're taking harder than we normally would, right? So if, let's say you're working crazy billable hours and, all of your time, energy, you're not working out because you're working so much. You're not seeing your friends because you're working so much. Perhaps your family relationships are compromised because you're always at the office, and you devote all that time in. And if something were to go wrong in that one basket, things starts to kind of spiral, So it's important that we create a lifestyle that factors in a very holistic life. Now, we're not going to give the false impression that everything is going to be, completely perfect, but the more balance you have in those other areas of life, it makes it easier to really embrace any hard impacts. And, obviously COVID has impacted all of us, but particularly for lawyers who are still having to work a caseload and play mommy and teacher and all these kind of things, it's important that you can at least establish goals for yourself outside of work, for one, and also establish goals in all of the areas that we discussed so far. So I'm going to stop now. I don't see any questions in the chat. If you have any, please I'm going to monitor the chat as well. But going to the visualization, so there are countless studies to show the power of visualization and how having a visual representation of your goals can help you manifest them. And there's also, a lot of studies on the law of attraction and how if you think it and you actually see it, then you can actually have a better opportunity to manifest that goal. And this is just a way to make that tangible. So quickly, has anyone not done a vision board? And that'll help me kind of tailor the conversation a bit more. If you have not done the okay. If you don't mind, for those who have not done a vision board, are there any burning questions that you want me to address first? And if so, I'm happy to answer that before getting to what to do. Okay. There are different schools of thought. So there isn't really a right or wrong, but you can do them online. I prefer to do, and I recommend, frankly, to do a physical board because it's also a way to get away from the screen time, you know, to kind of like, and like get your creative juices flowing versus just like doing it online. But I did look up the different options to do a visual board online if you don't have your tools with you today. So far, it looks like Canva is the best app to do a visual board online. So if someone wants to open that app, they're welcome to do that with us, okay? Some people do vision boards annually. For me, I noticed that some of my long-term goals I can't do within 1 year. So I tend to do mine every 3 years or so. And then I'll refresh to see, you know, have I done those things? So the board I have right now is the older one I actually put out of the garage, but I'll go through it to show you what it looks like and go through some of the areas with you. This is the older one, but my goals at the time, I talked about how I need to have, so you do words, phrases, and actual photos as well. So you don't only have to have photos. I'm very big on mantras and affirmations. So you'll notice on my boards, you'll see a lot of actual words that I have that are either important to me, that spark my energy, or things that are important to me that I actually have and I want to maintain, or things that I want to manifest. And manifestation isn't just like a kind of spiritual thing, but also it's just a way to create goals more intentionally. So this older board I talked about discipline, time to chill. I have that here. At the time I was cycling a lot. So I have a person visual, someone cycling. I'm a trial lawyer. So you'll notice a lot of the words within mine are trial related as well. So about opening statements, litigation, lawyers giving back, doing pro bono, and helping the community. Then I also have like lighter things. So I have, going to music festivals, or I mentioned me being a yogi. So you'll notice my yoga mats. This is a more difficult pose that at the time my goal was to be able to do a handstand. I still cannot do briefly I'm able to do a handstand on the wall, but I still can't do this one yet. So you'll notice that it has rolled over to my other board too, because I haven't gotten there yet. So that's why that's on my board. Living, I'm a big, I tend to believe that, a lot of times we go through life, but we're not intentionally living. Operating with intentionality is also very important. I'm also a life coach. So I coach people, starting off as attorneys only, but now it's kind of wielded itself to any high functioning professional. We tend to kind of relate and have overlapping things based on the demands that we have, And as I'm doing this, you guys are welcome to go ahead and begin working on your boards. If you're comfortable sharing with others, we can have a time to openly open the floor to share those. So at the time, I think I made this board, I might have been like 29 or so. So I found this article that said, coming out of my 20s stronger. I'm in my 30s now, but that was the goal at the time. And strong, I put, being fearless, nurturing my spirit, saving money, learning how to ask for help. And then I like in the law, what I like most is practicing law as far as the trial stuff. And then also writing. I really like legal writing. So I have a couple of phrases about being a good writer, telling the story. Those are all different things that are important to me. So I encourage you guys to, if you don't have any clips already, to go ahead and kind of gather those. There's no right or wrong ways to do it. Just think about the different areas that we discussed earlier, what you want to accomplish. And if you don't know where to begin, beyond this, we can also talk about like different prompts to ask yourself. Another good way before you begin actually clipping out what you can do is journal. Journal is very important, and it's a good way to kind of foster your thoughts to identify things that you want to do. So, you know, you can add, I can give you guys some prompts for things to consider. And then in answering those prompts, it'll likely spark some interest into where to begin with creating your board. So let's see. My more recent board, kind of building off the one that I showed before, you'll notice that the goals are different. So for this one, I felt like I accomplished, or at least I did a lot within those. So to build on this one, this is a bit smaller, but it's also on the foam board. In my experience, the foam boards are really good to use because you can just prop them up. I actually have my vision board in my closet so that when I'm getting dressed in the morning, I have to physically see it. And I find that motivating to start my day. Another time I'll keep them on the dresser, like right when I wake up in the morning. When I'm doing my morning affirmations, it'll kind of remind me physically of my goals versus, you know, writing them down top of the year, toss them in a drawer. So this one's a little more nuanced. I, you know, have different, I guess, creative goals as far as interior decoration that I want to accomplish. That's not my gift, but this is a really good picture from, like, I think the Housekeeping magazine. I was like, oh, I would love for my bedroom to look like this. So I added this one here. I love fresh flowers. So I have some flowers here. And then this quote I found, I can't remember whose quote it was, but it really spoke to my spirit, where it says, I was afraid if I didn't really go for it, I'd end up in a vanilla middle place. And for me, that would be like the ultimate failure, frankly. You know, I believe in taking a risk and trying new things. And again, speaking to the correlation, you'll notice some themes where this one at the time, I kind of thought of that same thought through the word live alone. So this one, that quote spoke to me about actually going for things and taking risks and, you know, living life without regrets. New memories. I am not a complete minimalist, but I do believe in creating memories versus accumulating things. So that's on this board. Comfort and style, luxury, living outside, because traveling is important to me. Make your walls talk. Again, back to my goal of designing more things, living outside, reading, togetherness. And then this one, is this really beautiful woman who I thought is really exuded strength. And, you know, I think she just radiated just like an internal light, and that really spoke to me. So I clipped out this image as well. So today I kind of started scratch with you guys, and I chose to use a cork board for the first time this year. And I'm going to use a cork board for today, and I'm also going to use just thumbtacks instead, which I think is also a nice way to quickly make a board without, you know, not having all these glue and things like that. Have any of you started your board so far and want to share with the group what you have? And I'll give a couple of seconds. Amber, can we briefly unmute the participants?
Yes, Candace actually has her hand raised.
Oh, nice.
So Candace, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, I think I need to turn off my background so y'all can see I'm a work in progress. Thank you for doing this. I was like, ooh, I want to finally finish it. I started at the top of the year and then I stopped. Okay. Can you see me now? Okay. All right. So everything's not pasted yet. But what I have is sleep is the new self-care, because we all need our sleep. I mean, even if we're COVID, it just seems like, you know, people just want you to work more. And I'm like, I have to take my nap. I need still my 7 to 8 hours. So I just got that. I transitioned from litigating, which I did love always, but I'm an educator at heart. I was a school teacher before I started practice. So I'm working at a school district now, DeKalb County Public Schools. So educational thriving, so I got that. And then educational progress. I haven't taped them down, but I'm going to.
Nice.
I love biking. I love Pilates, but I just found a bike in a magazine, so I have that. And I'm trying to get my money together. I bought a house last year during COVID. So now I'm like, oh, I got to re-up my savings. So got my money. I love chai tea. So I got a little teacup with a little heart in it. I thought that was cute. All these different magazines I just pulled from my house. And I do love a libation. So I got some wine here. I call it my antioxidant, my medicine. I tell my kids, let me get my medicine. And then I want to just feel good overall. So I found this, feel good, and then just believe that things will get better. Everything can't stay the way it is. And I'm working from a planner. So turn my camera. So this is like my daily planner that had a vision board kind of thing that I could do right in my planner. So that is the top of the planner, and then this is the bottom, and it has like a wish bucket list. And I've been taking my the quotes from my teacup and putting them on the side. And I'm writing out my bucket list. Haven't done it yet. That's what I'm gonna finish today. And these are just little butterflies. Butterflies are transformative. So that's where I'm at. I'm gonna finish today, but I wanted to share because I only have 30 minutes before I have to jump on a call, so I have to get on another call. But I just really, really appreciate you, LaKeisha, and I've learned so much from you, and the wellness community. Just love it. Thank you.
I really appreciate you sharing that. And the teacup is a really good idea because I drink tea every day in all different types, depending on what I need to feel myself. Mm-hmm. And you're right. Some of the really good teacups have great quotes and great mantras. So that's a very good idea I had not considered. I love that.
Yeah. One I really love is people who love are happy. And love is the experience of infinity. And your strength is your own belief. And just random coffee quote. Tea strings. No one in particular. I think it's the Yogi brand that has a lot of those, but I'm a tea connoisseur, so I don't know where I got them all from, but I just keep ripping them off and putting them on here. So.
And I like the fact you put like a mini vision board in your planner, because it's a good way also to keep it top of your day and to see it on a regular basis. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
No problem. Thank y'all for doing this again.
I think we have one other person that wanted to share with the group. Okay, Virginia.
Hi, LaKeisha, and again, I say thank you also for your time. I saw the email from this morning about the workshop or program, and I said, I got to make time to participate. So what I've done is since this morning.
Nice.
So some of the things on here are not, glued on or anything, glued on yet, but I have some goals for this year. I've got my business card here that represents when I took a year off of work a few years ago and just kind of went solo. And that's something that I'm considering doing again later in the year. And then I have a couple of quotes that I try to always remember that keep me grounded. And one of them that I'd like to share with you guys, and I hope it resonates as much with you as it did with me, states, give without remembering, receive without forgetting. And that's just something that I try to, keep in mind is when I give, I give and it's gone. And when I receive, to remember, the blessings that have come my way. And then just thinking about Black History Month, I've got a quote from Dr. King that says, "The time is always right to do what's right." Just kind of remember, Black history and our heroes and sheroes. And then another big part of my life is health. Like you, I'm a yogi. I've been exercising for, I've been physically active, most of my adult life. So I want to, keep that up. And this magazine cover also makes a few statements that I agree with. Optimize your energy, be inspired to make a difference, discover the powers of rituals. And then at the bottom are, the couple of themes that I have, in terms of transitioning later in the year, second acts, a book about second acts for lawyers, and then charting, new horizons, and the opportunity that I had to attend this Charting New Horizons program last year and meet Dr. Janet Yellen. So,
Virginia, we had a question in the chat asking, can you hold your visual a little bit higher?
Okay. All right. This is kind
of okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. And I really thank you, because I started out doing vision boards when I was like in my 20s, right out of high school. And then I stopped kind of once I, reached some of my goals. And, so I think this is a really opportune time for me to start again. So, last but not least, this is my passion that I want to pick up, gardening.
Oh, can you hold a little bit higher?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yep, this is so I'll take a picture of this and put it on the board, but this is high priority for me for 2021, is to get back into the soil and the earth, and pursue my passion for gardening.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. I was listening to the different areas that you've identified. It sounds like you've covered all of your areas of well-being for sure. Yeah. Like social, physical, career, and spiritual sounds like it overlaps within that too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Trying.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Is there anything else in the group you want to share? So I want to, we talked about earlier about where to begin. I think the first thing we want to do is make sure that you define your goals, and that, that can really help you begin where to start. If you don't know what your goals are, I would just say, think about, the big picture, where you want to end up, and work your way back. So like using that example, I have this lady doing this like amazing yoga pose that I don't have the core strength to do right now. I don't, I'm not doing it yet. So that's my big goal for the end of the year, or like making sure that, I can do my splits better, those kind of just like silly things that I really want to do, as a lawyer, you kind of, to your point, Virginia, it goes kind of like out of sight, out of mind. I made this goal probably 10, 15 years ago, still can't do a full split yet. So now I've broken down my goals in more bite-sized manner. So, my goal for the week is to make sure that I do hip opening exercises. Start with your big picture and kind of work your way back to make sure you're able to actually achieve those goals, like you would for any other goal. And there have been countless studies, but most of the data regarding the power of visualization and what it actually does in the brain would be, most of the studies I've read at least, focused on athletes. And there was one study, I think Psychology Today reported, where an athlete who actually would just think about themselves achieving the goal had very similar brain wave patterns as the one who's actually lifting the weight and doing it. And I thought that was really awesome. So personally, I'm working on visualizing things with beyond the board, kind of step further, so during my meditation time, actually seeing certain thoughts, certain visuals during my meditation time, to kind of really build on my overarching goals for the next 3 years and for this first year. And then also, you know, my day-to-day things to make sure those actually, you know, manifest. Because while it's great to have it in a visual representation, the reality of it is for any other goal, we have to actually work towards them. So the vision board is to help you see them concretely. And you can also always add to them. I have seen some individuals who actually mark off when they've accomplished a goal. So let's say, for example, if you're bored, you know, your goal was to purchase a home and you have, you know, a picture of your bedroom or picture of your home, you may mark it off so that once you do see your visual throughout the year, you can say, okay, but what's next? Or if you want to build on that to kind of, all right, now that I have the home, what are my goals within that home? Or now that I have the job, what are my internal goals? So for example, you know, for a younger associate, you may say, we identify a firm or an office where you want to work. And then now that you are in that position, what are your goals? You know, is that goals to become published? Is goals to become partner? You know, and kind of then from there, springboard your options to really build within that. So it's not something we kind of just tuck away, but it's just an ability to actually see what we want in a tangible way in order to do that. Now, I have also read studies about the power of thought and how if you are in inspiring environments, it helps your creativity flow better. So, you know, and that can be different things. So for me, whenever I make any major decisions, because I know that I feel most centered at the beach or near water, then I typically go to a beach for the weekend or whatever to make sure that I'm able to kind of really clear my mind and my heightened senses of creativity are flowing, you know. For others, that can be something like if you want to, you know, work at a high-power firm, or if you want to work, you know, in a environment, you may want to go to that environment, you know, walk the halls of that place, or, you know, actually see yourself in that moment doing that thing to accomplish that goal. And, you know, there's so much creativity and so much power in actually seeing it and not just thinking about it, you know. And sometimes physically going and seeing, you know, the hustle and bustle of the office you want to work in or the environment you want to work in every day. You know, if a client is coming from a small town and they want to move to a city, but perhaps never been to a city, you know, so just having time in that moment, in that environment, it really kind of just gets your creative mojo going. So I do encourage you guys to do that. So after you have identified your goals, I mean, the next step is generally to find your inspiration. We've already covered that. And the next, mapping out your board. There's no right or wrong. Some people are very linear in thought and they want to, you know, their boards are super structured. I kind of just like to do mine based on what's pretty and what fits. So there's no right or wrong way to do that. But I have seen people who are more linear and they'll have like flow charts for their vision boards. So that's also an option to do as well. But make sure the goal overall for lawyers in general for this particular event is to make sure that we are creating goals that are holistic and well-rounded, okay? So let's see. I'm gonna monitor the chat to see if we have any other questions. Are there any committee members that want to add or build on to anything we've discussed so far? And I'll open the floor to that.
Hello.
Hi.
So I've been listening. I'm actually not de-stressing because I'm multitasking. I just want to say, first of all, this is a great idea. Thank you so very much, LaKeisha, for even coming up with it. As I sent to you and Amber when you started my picture of how I had started, but nothing's glued down, so I can't pick it up because it'll all fall off. And I'm still in the process of trying to decide where to put what. So I can't pick it up and show you guys. But I will show you one thing. So I do have, I don't know, can you see my wellness wheel?
Oh, nice, yeah.
That I did cut out which is kind of the center of this particular board. So I've done boards before, and the fact that I don't know where they are will tell you how successful they were. So I'm trying to be more intentional this time.
Yeah.
So thanks for, this is helping me focus because I was already working on it. I feel like you having this idea was an affirmation that this is what I was supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. I am going to, after I finish this one, first of all, I'm gonna put it on the right kind of board so that it will stand up. Like you said, that's definitely makes a difference, it being sturdy enough to move around instead of the poster, which is another reason I'm glad I hadn't glued anything down yet, because now I can get a different background, a different board. And the check off part so that you can show yourself making progress. That gives us some internal lift when you do that. I'm one of those people that will actually do stuff during the day and it wasn't on my list, so I add it to my list so I can check it off. Yep. So that I feel like I've accomplished something. Otherwise you're like, well, where did my day go? You know, and you feel like, well, I didn't do anything today. And you stop and think, well, I really did. And that helps me feel better, I know, throughout the day. So I am going to learn how to do some online. Okay. But I'm very old school with the paper and the glue. But I do want to have one that I can play with online too, but that's going to be after I finish.
So I'm familiar with the wellness wheel. For those who are not, can you go over the areas on your wellness wheel?
So my wellness wheel, and this one is the 8 because it includes financial. I know some of them don't include financial. And so it's just the different areas of our life that we need to think about being well. And so this one includes environment, where you are, your space, intellectually, social, physical, spiritual, financial, occupational. So, which is what we talk about a lot in our being a lawyer, emotional. So the main ones that I deal with on a regular basis is the emotional, occupational, financial. I feel like I feel comfortable in my spiritual. So I'm not having to wrangle with that one. That actually helps me wrangle with the other ones. But just being conscious that your wellness is multifaceted. It depends on a lot of different areas. And when one is out of whack, then you find that strength and you compensate it from one of the other areas that you may be stronger in, and to help get you back in balance. It's funny, one of the things that my ex-husband told me on our first date was, he's like, he said he feels things and he feels people's energy. And one of the things he felt that I needed in my life was balance. So he was right. Now, he ain't still my husband, but he was right about needing that balance. And so anytime I start feeling like I'm tilting, I can analyze what's out of balance, what part needs my attention. And so this will help me having this visual up. I used to do, I don't know if you all watched Being Mary Jane, and she had all the sticky notes on her mirror. And I did that for a while. And it was really helpful. Now I get motivational sayings. I got one of those apps that sends you motivational sayings throughout the day, and they pop up on my watch. So I use those along with, I'm gonna have this vision board. I'm actually may just take it around the house with me, depending on what's going on, to remind me.
Well, I really, really appreciate you sharing. I wanted to, you kind of triggered my thought about the emotional. And of course, reminding everyone that they have the option to use their 6 counseling sessions that are included within their bar dues. For me, I manage my emotional well-being by going to therapy. And I've often been quoted by saying that therapy is a mental massage for me. because that's what this feels like, you know. I mean, I don't only go to therapy when there's a crisis. I believe that you should have a therapist the same way you have a dentist or primary care physician, you know, just someone within your team to help really keep you as balanced as possible. And, you know, I do want to make sure that we're clear that it's never going to be perfect, but you can manage it a lot better. So, you know, that balance or that management, one of the ways that I think of what you just described is like on the page, you know, the old school, what's it, notebook paper, the little margin in the red area. Whenever things kind of get beyond, I think, oh, I don't have as much margin in that area. So I do spirit, mind, body, finances day to day. And if any of those areas are off and I have less margin, you're right, you kind of overcompensate in the other areas, or you'll notice the adverse impacts on the other areas when you don't have as much margin to embrace the impact. So it sounds very similar. And Amber just put in the chat about the wellness wheel. I believe it's on our website. Do we have the well-being task force report on the website, guys? And if not, we'll make sure we get that to everyone.
Yes, I just posted a link to the wellness wheel, which is featured in the December issue of the Georgia Bar Journal. I'm also going to send y'all a high-res PDF that you could potentially print and put on your vision board. It's not the exact same one that Javoyne has. It has the 6 areas of lawyer well-being, and I think Javoyne's has 8.
I will try to find, because I printed this, so I must have a picture of it, and I can send it because, like I said, the financial is one of the ones I noticed that are not on all the wheels. And I think this one I don't know if the environmental is on all the wheels. That may be the 2 additional that may be on here. I'm not exactly sure. But if I find the picture, Amber, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, definitely environment is on all of them. But, you know, environment can be a number of things. For me, you know, my sleep environment really impacts my well-being. So making sure that I don't have devices in my bedroom. Recently, I've been studying the impact of blue light from from your phone and things like that. And I've read some reviews on blue light glasses and different things like that. So recently, I'll share that I've been turning off put my phone in airplane mode at night while it's charging to minimize the amount of blue light that I have, and then also number of like the Wi-Fi that you have going on while you're trying to sleep and how that impacts your sleep. So creating an environment that is conducive to what you want. So if you want rest in your bedroom, to make sure that your bedroom isn't full of things with like stimulus, you know, or if you focus better, like I keep aromatherapy candles in my office, and I also have a diffuser in my office. You know, with things like eucalyptus or spearmint and things that create better thought processes and help mental stimulation. I also have energy aromatherapy lotion that I keep on my desk at work to make sure that my environment is conducive to having energy and things like that. So I do really like the fact that yours has the environmental component, because I am intentional about that. And I guess I never thought about it in this way, but definitely I believe environment is important for well-being as well. Are there any other questions or for either me or Javoyne you want to address regarding vision boards? Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left, and if there's anyone in the group that wants to share what they have started so far, you're welcome to do that. Let me go through my checklist, make sure I've covered everything we wanted to cover.
And LaKeisha, while you're doing that, I just wanted to say I have a meeting I have to get to, but I again want to thank you so very much for coming up with this idea and for leading this monthly touch. And I look forward to seeing everybody's wheel. If you want, because accountability partners are important. You mentioned that, having accountability partners. So if there's anyone that's been part of this session that wants to have an accountability partner, you want to share, then if you can send them, Amber, is it okay to send them to you?
Absolutely.
And we can share and keep each other accountable if you're interested in that. I don't know if you were gonna say anything like that, LaKeisha. But
I wasn't, but I love that idea. And also, you know, we have a running hashtag for our committee, Lawyers Living Well. So if anyone wants to post what they have so far, or even update us with the hashtag Lawyers Living Well, that'd be a good way for us to see them. I love that.
That'd be great. And I did want to echo what you said about the Use Your Six and having a counselor. I totally have mine as I can't wait to get to my safe space to share just what happened and you know, what's going on. And it doesn't have to, not in crisis. You know, it's just a place to be able to keep my wellness will intact. And I like what you said about just like you have your dentist and your OBGYN, if that's what you need, or, you know, it's like you have your doctor list, and I think we all need to add that to our list.
Is there anyone in the room that doesn't know what we mean by Use Your Six? And if so, we can talk about that.
Yeah, gotta go. See y'all.
Well, thank you for coming, and thank you so much for letting us do this event.
Oh, my pleasure.
So I didn't see any hands raised, but just a quick spill. You go to the website for the State Bar. On the top, we have the page for our wellness on our homepage for the State Bar, where every year your bar dues includes 6 free counseling sessions. You can choose whoever you want, pretty much. In my experience, they tend to ask you to choose someone near your home or work. That way you can make the actual appointments. You don't have to disclose why you're going, but you can give like a high level so they can help you choose what therapist is best for you. So say, for example, if you call and say, you know, I need to call someone, so I'm dealing with grief right now, they'll help you find someone that is known for grief counseling. Other than that, it's completely anonymous. You know, there's not a lot of paperwork. They ask you in the phone call, maybe like less than 5 minutes, what you want to do. Then they directly bill the therapist and the bar pays for it. And our bar dues already cover 6 sessions a year. And I think we have shown an increase, but it's still a large number of attorneys in the bar who aren't actually using their 6. So if you're also on social media, you'll notice that we tend to post hashtag Use Your 6, and we're referring to using your 6 free counseling sessions. Well, not really free, but 6 sessions that are included within your bar dues. So I wanted to go through one more thing for anyone that does not have a physical board, or you feel like it's easier for you to do an online board. I mentioned Canva as being the one that I thought was the most user-friendly. But I did want to go through other options for apps if you want to design a vision board online. You can do Canva. There's also PicMonkey, PIC Monkey. They offer options to do online vision boards, and they also have some templates already created. So if you want to choose that option. Mind Movies is another option online where you can create vision boards, and they also allow you to do videos within the app. So if you want to look at that one, if you're really inspired or tend to like video clips, that's an option for you. Dream It Alive is another app that's able to help you with the power of visualization. They have a lot of different stock photos in areas like wellness, love and romance, hobbies, travel, and family. Those that are key area for creating a board online. And I haven't tried this one, but this one's called Visu app, VISUAPP. That's another good app. And that one is available for Androids and Apple devices. So I know some online apps are only for Apple devices. But one thing that stood out about this one to me was that it's also available for Androids. But I do, whatever speaks to you, I think it's best to just get it done. But I do recommend the old school way because I believe it gives you less screen time. It feels less like work and more like fun. So kind of, go through and actually cut your clips and create what you need. And then finally, I want to leave the floor open for any questions. We have about 5 minutes left. But I want to thank each of you for joining me, letting you know that you're welcome to reach directly. Through my life coaching practice, we work with groups or individuals. And so we also have some small accountability groups. For example, you may have about 4 to 6 people who may want a life coach to help with different things, whatever the group wants. You know, sometimes it's creating a physical goal and talking through it collectively to have a solid accountability group versus, you know, just doing on your own. So welcome doing that. And then also we do these kind of presentations for firms and organizations as well to kind of lessen the stigma of wellness. Sometimes it's easier to, you know, have someone come in and talk about it and start the conversation. We had one question or comment.
No, that was an accident. Thank you. I'm sorry, LaKeisha. I've enjoyed the session.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you guys being here. And for me, this was a good way to renew, to make sure that the goals I made for my New Year's resolutions aren't going by the wayside. So I believe, you know, after I make my New Year's resolutions at the top of the year, I usually reevaluate them at least quarterly to see, have I made any progress with this one? And if not, what can I do over the next quarter to kind of catch up or keep myself accountable? So we talked about it in a large way of starting, you know, where you want to end up and kind of making it bite-sized and going back. So now we're in the first quarter. This is reminding me, okay, well, you haven't been running at all. So I'm going to use this session also to make sure I hold myself accountable with more running. Are there any housekeeping things you want to do for the next monthly fetch, Amber?
No, we are good to go. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, guys.